You're
Okay,
back. We good?
let's get rolling. I know we got 20 minutes today. I appreciate everybody jumping on. I know this was a webinar that kind of came out of the blue, but I'm sure a lot of us are having those that are sort of hopping onto our calendars right now. With that in mind, I wanted to do a few things. We got a 20-minute window, and thank you everybody for joining us in the middle of your busy day. The goal for today's short webinar was a topic that I feel is pretty important today, and I'm kind of seeing this emerge a lot here at One Huddle, especially with a lot of our clients. And it's one around how do we keep our team together right now in this moment. I'm going to do like a mini Zoom prayer to make sure that Zoom plays nice here over the next 20 minutes. But first, what I want to do is I want to give you just a few of my comments on my observations, talk to probably 80 or 90 C-level or CEOs over the last 7 days. I've talked to investors, I've talked to customers, I've talked to employees, and I thought it'd be helpful to share some of my thoughts, and then we'll spend the rest of our time open dialogue with some other folks. I know we have Diane from Vineyard Vines on the call as well, and some of our team members, and would like to just lead a short discussion. A few random thoughts to get us kick-started. I think certain industries today are in some pretty big trouble, as you all are well aware. But I think even more specifically, certain jobs are in trouble that otherwise maybe wouldn't have seen this sort of coming with what's happening in recent events. Some people are unsure if this is a recession or is this a depression. How are we going to respond? But I do think that one thing is clear. This moment has exposed the bad leaders and has the good leaders, the ones that are prepared for this moment. They're most definitely standing out right now. And that was something that, I was told a long time ago from a former coach, that the bad leaders get exposed and the good leaders stand out. And I think that's definitely clear today. I wanted to share a few thoughts around what we're doing at One Huddle before we go into this Q&A. A few points of some of the things that we've done over the last 10 days as news started to broke around what's happening around the world. First, as a leader, I felt it was important for us to hold an all-team meeting. It was something we did on the 11th of the month, called an all-team meeting, put all our team together, and I thought it was important for them to hear from me how I think this is going to impact not just our life, but our business. That was the first thing we did. Second thing we did is I had a one-on-one with each team member, and again, we're talking today about how we keep our team together. I thought it was important to get everybody together one-on-one, even if it was a short call, just to make sure everybody was still with me, so to speak. And how are people doing? The third thing I did is I used it as an opportunity to reestablish standards. So we're getting into the meatier things. How do we keep together and move forward? I use it as an opportunity to say, these are the goals we set in 2020 we were going to achieve. Let's reset. Let's not wave the white flag, but let's find a way forward as best we can. And most definitely, some industries are struggling with this more than others, but sharing just what we did, we had it as an opportunity to reestablish some standards. Fourth thing we did was we focused on culture and leadership. I think one of the great opportunities that this moment has provided us, because that's the way I'm trying to look at, from our business, how can we continue to move forward? We used it as an opportunity last week to kick off an exploration of our corporate mission, vision, and core values, something we already had in place, but something that I thought would be really powerful to bring us all back together to connect around. So we did an exploration last week on our 5 core values and talked about it, and huddled up on Monday and then huddled up on Friday and said, hey, are these the right ones for us right now? The fifth thing we did was we made it a point to talk more. So just a few observations for some of the things we've done. I think that if I look back at what's happened over the last 10 days, I think we re-engaged with each team member, we re-established goals, and we reconnected with our mission. So again, we re-engaged with each one of our team members, we re-established what our goals are, and we reconnected with our mission. Those are really the ways that we leaned in. With that in mind, what I'd like to do is this is really about just hearing from some of the folks out there on how you're leaning in as leaders and how you're working to keep your team together. What I'd like to do is I'd like to kick it over to Jared, and Jared is on the call. So Jared, I'm gonna elevate you here, buddy. Let's see if we can make this work. I'm gonna elevate Jared and Diane. You with me, Jared?
Hey, Jared. Cool. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can. How you doing? That's a great backdrop, buddy. It's like backdrop wars.
I'm going maroon and purple theme today.
We also have Diane from Vineyard Vines. I'm going to let Jared do the honors of introducing.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Sam. So, and Sam said the past couple of weeks, Sam's talked to, hundreds of people, from investors to our team to customers, et cetera. And on the customer success side, we've been on calls nonstop with our customers all across the board in all different industries all over the world over the past couple of weeks. And hearing kind of how they're handling what's going on right now. And obviously every industry is different, but I think for us, it's important to continue to highlight those customers that Sam said are leaning in, and that are prioritizing their people right now. And so Diane and I have had a couple calls over the past week, and she shared some stuff with me and Ben, one of our other team members, that we immediately shared with our overall team because it was a really fun success story. And so Diane is a district manager for Vineyard Vines, and runs all of the field retail group related to One Huddle. And so is the lead nationally for Vineyard Vines on that end, and does such a great job. So excited to have her on, and to kind of share a couple things there.
Yeah, so thank you, Jared. Yeah, so we decided to really take advantage of this time. Our stores are closed, like many other retailers right now, and we're looking for ways to keep our teams engaged, to take advantage of this time to really get them, much like Sam said, to reestablish goals, and we're really looking at doing training at this point. So some of the things we've done is I've over the months, or the last 6 months that I've been working with the One Huddle for our company, I've had many store managers and assistant managers reach out to me with ideas and content that they would like to see. So we've gathered a group together right now who I meet with pretty much every other day, and we've divided up into groups to work on different content. So every day I'm getting new games sent to me that we can upload. So that's been really great. It's keeping those store managers and assistant managers who are engaged in training and these kinds of activities, keeping them engaged and in the business and feeling like they are doing something really beneficial for the business right now, which is great. So we are creating a library of content. We're going to put in as many games as we can in there. We may not make them all go live right now. We won't make them all go live right now because there's so many, but we'll have that content so when business picks up again, it'll be really easy to plug and play these games to really drive our business. So that's exciting. We're also using One Huddle as a way to keep our teams just to give them some fun-spirited things. We've created games for kids of our team members. I had my 14-year-old and 12-year-old create a video games One Huddle game around Pokemon, Super Mario Brothers, Fortnite, and Minecraft. And that game was played like 400 times the first day I posted. So the teams are definitely out there excited. Just some fun games to keep them happy and let them forget about what might be going on in the world right now a little bit as well. So, so that's been really great. And I think that one of the things that's been successful with our One Huddle rollout in general is that we are doing a weekly recap, and I will continue to do that, whether stores are open or not, which really shows just what the stores are, which districts are participating the most, which employees are the highest on the scores, and then what new games are coming out or any updated information that we need to roll out, whether it be how-tos or things like that. So that's been really helpful and engaging. I post that weekly recap every week for the stores, but I also send it to my district managers and give them kind of a rundown of where we stand and any opportunities I may see. Or I'll reach out to an individual district manager that maybe doesn't have the participation that the rest of the districts do, so that they can work with their teams to get it up and going. So, and right now in this downtime, we're also doing a lot of trainings with our managers through HR. So I am partnering with HR and all of the district managers who are running these trainings to create individual games for those trainings that they're doing. So really have my hands in all the areas of the business right now, but it's really been exciting and fun, and helping us all to feel like we're making a difference in the business during this time.
That's great.
Cool. Thanks so much for sharing, Diane. I really appreciate that. I think that it's like you said, over the past 6 months, awesome to watch that roll out. And I was just emailing with Emily, who you were mentioning from the corporate team, to get some things going. So really excited for that. And I think that one of the things that they do a great job of is engaging people at all different levels, from managers down to store associates and everybody in between. How do you think about, from you mentioned like some of the fun games and things like that, in terms of whether it was new products that you were planning to roll out that you might not now, just because of like the climate and stores being closed? How do you think about, kind of from a product and process standpoint, keeping those things top of mind and like refreshers, so when people come back, they're stronger than ever?
Yeah, so our business is still running online. So we do still have customer focuses and product focuses right now. So we are working with the merchant teams at our corporate office as to what those focuses are, and still rolling that out to our store teams, because when they come back, they're going to need to come back stronger than ever. So we don't want them to not know about the product that will be in their stores. So we're continuing that as well. We are looking at things like what have been opportunities this year so far from a LP or an operations standpoint, and using this time to really buckle down and create games that will help them learn or improve those opportunities as well.
That's great. I can tell you that, I mean, Diane, it's I know that Jaime, who, even though he's not talking right now, is probably jumping up and down about what you're doing with the games for kids. And I think that's comes back to this point, right? It's so hard to keep this element of keeping people connected while we're not together. I think it's just one that sometimes we need to talk about it more right now. We're all social creatures who see each other every day in the store or around the office. And I just made a comment to somebody that I feel like in certain ways we're more efficient working remote, but in certain ways, some conversations that maybe just a look would say in person have turned into a 5-minute webinar. So it's pretty cool to hear some of the stuff that you're doing and being focused on it. I just think it's again a testament to what brands need to be thinking about. Roger's jumping up and down here. Hold on, I have to add Roger in. Okay, let's see if this works. There he is. Do you have a question, Roger? I promise I prayed.
Roger's new to Zoom, isn't he?
So with that in mind, we'll just continue forward here, Donna. And any other questions, by the way, anybody out in the audience, if you do have questions, feel free to drop it into the Q&A section, and we'll tackle it. Okay, so Donna has a question. I'm gonna throw it to Donna.
Back.
What you got?
I guess, Sam, I think it would be awesome if you could share more light on what we're doing as a company to help other companies transition into more remote work, and share more info around everything that's happening with COVID-19 and just, spreading the word.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and again, Diane talked really well about just some of the stuff they're doing with, again, using gamification right now to keep people connected. But we also, about 8-9 days ago, we turned around some games that are off the shelf for everybody on the call, that's available for everybody, that have to do with COVID-19. So we have sort of 3 packs of trainings that are available. The first is on kind of facts and fears. It's the ever-changing news that's breaking on COVID, that everybody here could benefit from, whether it's like blocking and tackling around how social distancing works, or it's information about what's coming out of the CDC or the WHO. That's sort of an all-encompassing game that everybody can access. The second has to do with just leading a remote workforce. And I think that's the game I've actually taken a lot from, because it's sort of these fundamentals that you think about. How do you lead while you're not in front of people? And then the third is how to be a great remote worker. Just because you have a Zoom account or a Slack account doesn't mean you know how to be effective in operating remote. And we have some trainings up on how to operate as a remote worker. So it looks like Roger's starting to show up here. Roger, are you able to talk? There you are.
Yeah.
You look great.
All right. Thank you. I was kind of getting upset. It felt like you guys were leaving me out. I don't know what was going on. Diane, that was awesome. I appreciate you you sharing all that stuff. I just have a couple of other notes here from conversations with clients and also some new prospects. I think I love the idea, Diane, that you brought up around building games for like kids and other topics and things like that. I think another really awesome way that some of our clients are leaning in is for some of the downtime, if stores aren't open or if some staff are, aren't on shift or using their hours, they're using this time for leadership development. So they're trying to take some of the time to develop staff today that want to be future leaders or managers or directors. And they're kind of leveraging our off-the-shelf content on time management, communication skills, leadership skills, or they might have their own kind of track of leadership development. And they're leveraging that stuff right now for, again, folks that might be in retail and hospitality that are kind of sitting at home, right, with maybe like half of their day back. I think another one is this kind of like we keep hearing in the media, facts over fear. I think what our clients are doing right now, and kind of piggybacking off what Diana's mentioning, is eliminating this kind of like telephone game and creating a facts over confusion. So being able to communicate standardized messaging across the brand. So communicating things like new policies, updates internally coming down from corporate, which I think is awesome. And then I know we just got off the phone earlier this week, Sam and Jared and the rest of the team, with one of our clients is in the fitness world. So they run a sports performance facility in New York, and they've actually been kind enough to be able to share some of their games on like mental and physical activity. So mental health and games around staying hydrated and some like in-home workouts that we're sharing across any of our clients that want it. Because obviously, right now, as we sit at home, I know myself, I'm walking back and forth in like a 2 or 3 foot window, right? So staying active, staying kind of sharp from a mental perspective is another big idea. And then allowing team members to also kind of lean in and build games on best practices on how they set up working remotely, right? So tools they might be using or just ideas on how they're setting up and structuring their day. So I think because our platform is so nimble and so quick and easy to author and build, to your point, Diane, they're kind of leaning into their workforce and gathering ideas and trying to find ways to not only have a one-way communication to their workforce and employees, but also use this as a time to keep everyone super engaged to share ideas and whatnot. So I wanted to kind of throw in some of those things that I'm hearing from other conversations as well.
Yeah, the some of the corporate wellness stuff I think is really cool. It's the stuff that you can do from home that whether it's workouts, fitness, nutrition, I want to make sure I can, fit into my jeans again at some point. So it's just like making us all conscious of the things that we can do. I thought was pretty cool stuff. I have a question for Diane. We had a question that came in on rewards. What have you found? And it doesn't just have to be with One Huddle, but just across the board. Are you doing anything? What are you finding that's working because you can't we have companies that will do rewards being go out to lunch with a manager. We can't do that, right? Are there any reward ideas that you've been able to lean into?
So I have shared with Jared that we're kind of in the middle of revamping our rewards and recognition program as a company. So I was told to kind of put any sort of tangible rewards or recognition on hold for the moment. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that our weekly recap and just recognizing the top players, we seem to have very competitive team members at Vineyard Vines, and everyone wants to be on that weekly recap. So I think by doing that, and then with me sending that out to the district managers every week and recognizing the top districts, we certainly have district managers that are rewarding and recognizing their team members for the participation with that. We also frequently, I am on a 2:30 call on Mondays that recaps the business. And if there is something that we focused on from a business perspective, like say it's our new on the go short that we rolled out, and we had a One Huddle game about that. If we saw a rise in the business, we will correlate that back to the One Huddle game. Like, here are the things we did, and this is why we saw a rise in that business. Or vice versa, if we didn't see a rise in something then we would use One Huddle to try to educate the teams to drive that business the following week. So.
Great. I really appreciate you sharing. There's several other questions that are here, but I want to be conscious of time. I know we blocked 20 minutes, so I want to hold us to that. I was told rule number one of web conferencing is you have to end when you say you're going to end. So I'm gonna abide by that. But maybe Donna, after this, we can share maybe some of our responses, and maybe we'll do this again. We put this together sort of last minute. I was really happy that Jared got Diane involved to share what you're doing. I think this is so much more than any one product. It's really about how we can lean in. I have one book, and I know Jared's read this book before. And I would spent before today preparing. I was going through a bunch of leadership books that are on the shelf, and there was a quote in this book that says, a title doesn't decide if you're a leader or not. Your team does. So in moments like this, it was, I don't think there's anything more relevant, how you act, how you behave, how you adjust the way that you lead and operate. Your team is going to be, they're watching and they're following your lead. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you again, Diane. Thanks for everybody on the call with questions, and let's get back to work. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Diane.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.